Back with another episode of Cold Beer and Whitetails. I think we're on number 12 right now. My guest today is Corey Watson, aka the Predator. He's wearing the Predator mask because since we've had him or his brother on last, he's now a killer. Since we had Chad on last, his other twin brother, which looks exactly like the Knucklehead, had a good kill with his compound bow. His first couple kills, he told you all about his journey. But the greatest thing is, since we've had him on, Corey killed a great buck for his first kill with a compound bow,
hmm
and we're not talking about just like your traditional, forky or little small 6 pointer for your first compound buck. Yours was a great buck that we call forward collision.
hmm
Got a lot of pictures of throughout this whole video. By the way, you'll see a lot of trail cameras, footage of them. Matter of fact, we even have the trail camera footage of them with the arrow going in the deer as you were shooting it. And
Yeah.
then I've got footage of them from the deer stand coming in two different times. So we'll be playing that in the bottom right hand corner
Yeah.
throughout the whole time. But uh, no need to introduce yourself, but tell the people how, based on your brother's experience and my experience and passion for it, how you've gotten into it. Because it wasn't like you were head over heels like your brother or I was to begin with.
Well, you just kind of cultivate an interest when you're around something. It's like if you get young kids around any sport, it doesn't matter what it is, and they watch somebody else do it and play it enough, they're going to be interested in it, even if they're not great at it. And it's the same way with guys doing hunting or anything. If a friend group gets involved in something, everybody's going to get good at it. I mean, what Peyton Manning was notorious, or no, it was Drew Brees was notorious for wanting to get good at ping pong whenever he played, was at the football stuff. And they'd be like, oh, we have a ping pong table. He's like, I'm going to get really freaking good so I can just destroy people at this. Because you have that competitive spirit. It's just
Yeah.
manly stuff. You want to be good at it when you see other people doing it. And when, like the family member does it, and you're like, I can do it. I can do it better than that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, my wife joked around about how whenever Chad killed it, really fired you up, and then that's when your drive really kicked into high gear. Not that you weren't interested before, but whenever Chad did it, you're like, all right, give me the bow.
Pretty
And
much.
yeah, and that's honestly that's well, I always say, the dreams and the journey, not the destination. So it's fun chasing them. I think more than seeing it all in. And you would probably agree with that. You had a lot of experiences where I don't want to tell your story, but tell them about how difficult it was before you got the kill. It's not like that was just your first time shooting at a deer or anything. So
Yeah. I mean, leading up to it, it's like, well, if you saw Drake's video about his, dot and, shooting a laser beam at a buck at like 25 yards, it's like that was our first like hunting experience. So we went out in a tree with him and sat there, and he was like, oh, we're just going to film it and see what happens. And then, he went and basically dotted a deer, killed it, and it ran like 50 yards and died instantly. Maybe if that.
oh yeah,
And he just looked at us and goes, "That was not a good first time experience for you guys." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "You killed it. It was awesome." He goes, "That's not typical."
no,
And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, it sure felt typical." So that was my introduction to it. So I was like, "Oh well, shit, he made it look easy." So this whole bow hunting stuff's a breeze,
yeah,
So it set up a level of expectation, and then you get out there and do it. So I'll say after Chad got his first kill, I went out a couple of times. And for the most part, you'll sit in the stand and you'll see stuff, but you won't take the shot because shots never presented. And one thing you can say about me, or I can say about myself, is that I'm a very disciplined shooter. Like I refuse to take
yeah,
shots I don't believe are going to be
which is
kill
good.
shots, even if they're standing, even if there's big bucks standing in front of me. I'm like, he's not quartered the way I want, or he's staring directly facing me,
Yeah,
like chest to me, and I'm like, I'm not taking that shot.
it's a good habit.
So that was the way a lot of the hunts were. It's like you just sit there and it's like that Dumb and Dumber meme. I guess you could pull that one up where it shows Harry and Lloyd driving and they're all excited being on the
Oh
road.
yeah,
And then
then
it's
we're
like,
coming back
and
from
then it's just
hunting.
like
Yeah,
that, just depressed face look. And, but yeah, no, so I actually did take a couple of shots. I fired my bow.
I'm sorry. I
You're
didn't
good.
mean to laugh. I just remember one time I was hunting with your brother. He was like, I remember looking down at my text, and I'm like, "This is the day. Today's the day." And he's like, "Yeah, it is. We got this." And then we met back at the creek, and I was like, "You see anything?" No. No, did you? No, we walked back like with our asses in our hand,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. It's like what you said and what other people say. It's like that's why it's called hunting and not killing. If you
Yeah,
were guaranteed to kill every time you went out, it wouldn't be called hunting. It'd just be like, this is just called shoot the deer.
it'd be called grocery shopping.
Everybody wins.
Yeah,
But I got up and stand in that same stand over and over and over again, and I would I took a shot. My first shot was on a buck, and I actually called you about it. And I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I got this turd." But I guess I must have hit him in the shoulder and hit his bone. I guess it's the tibia or whatever that
yeah,
bone is
yeah.
there.
The scapula.
The scapula, yeah. So
Yeah.
I must have shoulder nicked him because the bow did not go
Corey,
through.
try whenever you're talking, try talking to this part right
You
here.
bet.
Yeah, there you go. You're way better now.
So the
Yeah,
first shot
hitting the
was
scapula.
hit him in the scapula, and it was not. I found blood and I tracked the trail, but he was not bleeding good. And
Yeah.
then we found a spot where he bled out quite a bit, but I'm
Oh, is
guessing.
that when you had the girls out there with you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah. The
remember that.
girls came out and were helping me track, and then I felt bad because again, it must have clotted, and then he just disappeared. There was no trail, there was nothing. We gave him a lot. We sat on him for a couple hours and went back out there. But yeah, it must have just been a bad shot. When I thought I let go, I thought it was going to be a heart and lung shot, but it was. I figured when I never found the arrow, I was like, okay, so it was I hit him
Yeah.
in the shoulder, so we did not get penetration.
Then the doe.
Yeah, and then the second time I shot, I got in that stand and I got a doe at about 25, exactly 25 yards. And I must have gut shot her, or maybe just ahead of the gut shot, but just away from the lungs
Yeah,
because she just,
that was a really last light situation though.
it was. And we tracked her and she was bleeding good, like real good.
She just stopped bleeding after about 300 yards.
Yeah, and then we went to the bullpen and we were right by a little reservoir and creek, or I know, just a drainage ditch is what it was. And I mean, she had a big, nasty blood trail right there. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a pile of blood, and then it's like she just disappeared. We
Makes me
followed that
wonder.
creek.
Probably should have waited a couple more hours,
Yeah,
but that's that. I mean, good thing it was a doe. If it was a buck, we wouldn't have went right back in there right after that. It's just the
exactly,
reality of it.
exactly.
So then those were your first two times shooting at a deer.
Yeah,
Got the
and
tribulation out of the way.
yeah, yeah. That first one, when I was shooting at that buck the first time, because that was a bad hunt. That was a bad hunt. That was when those kids were walking
Oh
down
yeah,
the
that's right,
track and throwing rocks and shit. And I just was ready to I was having fits. I was ready to shit a
dude.
brick.
We got really educated on that road there in the
Yeah.
last about 3 weeks.
Yeah, all those apartment kids walking back and forth down it, and I
Homeless
was,
people.
yeah, homeless people, and
Uh,
it was not good. So I was like, dude, this. I was texting him. I was like, man, this hunt is over, man. He was like, no, you gotta stay there.
yeah,
And then that's when
that
those
was
two big old
encouraging. Yeah,
bucks ran right out of the woods, and I was like, holy cow, magic did happen. But and then I missed the
well, yeah,
shot.
yeah, but it was all meant to be though.
Yeah.
Because you learn from it, and then now, whenever you made the kill on the big buck,
hmm It
which
was.
is every bit of this,
Yeah.
probably even a little bit bigger,
Yeah.
really.
And then on that doe, I was calm when I shot her, but just pursued her too soon, I suppose. But again, it was a doe, so I mean, I
Yeah,
wasn't missing out. But but it also makes you a good steward. It's like when I shoot a deer, it's like, man, I don't put that sucker down. I don't want to go
yeah,
out, get hurt, and be wounded for a couple days, and then die of infection and stuff. You actually want so when people are like, oh, you're
yeah. I
a
was just
bad
about to
hunter,
say
you're
that
just
you
killing
can speak
animals.
to
It's
the
like no.
misconceptions. You can speak to the misconceptions probably right now more than you ever are going to, because right now you're as new to it as you've ever been. So you're as closer to the misconceptions that you are, because as soon as you keep living it out, the nuances become a part of your hunting career and your woodsmanship, meaning then you hear the outside noise further in distance. But right now, it's probably really relatable from you, because you hear a lot of people give criticism probably towards the hunting industry, whether it be, you know, killing, which honestly, if you talk to a real hunter, he doesn't even really use the word kill. Yeah, we'll use that in our vocabulary, but it's harvest,
hmm
because what's done with the meat after the animal is not just
Yeah.
from a malice standpoint of kill
Yeah.
viciously,
Yeah, kill, or the liberal philosophy would be, yeah, we kill it, and we just look at it, oh, I did it, and then we
Yeah,
just walk away. It's like, no, man, we drag that thing out the woods and we
yeah,
get the meat and we harvest the heads, like right
yeah,
here, man.
right. Well, I mean, they'd either die of four reasons: starvation, predation, um, disease, or humans.
Yep. Or like I said, I mean, the worst thing is then they cause a danger to the drivers on the road, and people are
Yeah.
running into deers and getting killed.
hmm Yeah.
Both animals getting killed, people
Oh,
and the
yeah.
deer. But
Well, And also too, people don't realize they say, "Oh, whenever you've been out in nature, not to get away, but we'll get back to your story. But whenever you've been out in nature enough, you hear people say, "Oh, don't kill the animals, this, that, or the other." If you've ever been around a population, because right now your deer density is in such population that you can probably get a good grasp on what I'm getting ready to say. That whenever you do have a euphoric area that has no external variable like a human predator and little real actual predators, whether it be coyotes or bobcats, truly little of those,
Mhm.
and they get to truly thrive. Well, honestly, it gets to be such high in population that they don't get to live the life that God intended for them because there's not enough resources for them to truly flourish to
Yeah,
their fullest potential because there's so many deer and so little vegetation.
absolutely. And
So,
on that point, this is the time of year where there's food scarcity. So,
yeah,
we're out there and I mean,
you're seeing that right now,
yeah,
which is why I'm bringing it up. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, to segue back into my story, you know, uh, we are baiting with corn.
Hmm.
So that's but we know we have a neighbor who's
Yeah.
baiting. We have another neighbor on the
Well,
other
there's
side
no
who's
reason to
baiting.
justify it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we know what we're doing, and like I said, so we
So,
are feeding them, and they are happy to have
oh
that corn.
yeah,
I guarantee it. And
and we're selective in what we're harvesting. More
yeah,
important. So,
we're not out there just taking pot shots. I mean, again,
no.
I've been able to shoot. If I could have shot every single time, I could have shot almost every single time.
Oh, dude, if you would have had, yeah, you would have had 30 deer.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, if you had shot every time you went done, it'd be an unreal amount of deer that you'd have.
Yeah, but I choose not to because I mean those little yearlings, they're like, "Kill me!" They're like, "Just let the shot."
Yeah.
And then the younger does are not real smart. Moms and stuff, they're pretty slick, but they're
See,
definitely
if you're Peyton takes out the trash. He shoots whatever.
less.
Peyton doesn't care. He knows it too. He's like, whatever you need killed, I'll shoot it. I've even seen
He's in my lane. He got in my lane.
I've even seen him be able to stand with an arrow. He's like, I'm shooting this tonight. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I hope a deer comes by. He's like, no, I mean, I'll shoot a squirrel. I'm shooting it tonight. I'm like, oh, you're shooting the arrow. He's like, I'm shooting the arrow.
He's like that
tonight.
guy that got that goat. And he's like, I got 2 pointer.
Yeah. Oh, the donkey.
Yeah.
The donkey.
Oh yeah.
Got my first doe today. Big bow laid down next to the donkey on a heart shot. God damn. Conservation police don't pull up at your house.
Oh shit. But
Oh, we never, cheers. We're drinking
yeah.
Coca-Cola today, not cold beers.
not cold beers.
It's all right. Cheers, guys. Middle of the week. Give us a break.
It is the middle of the week. But yeah, I guess I'll jump back into the story. So I guess I don't know. I went out there and it was kind of a last minute decision to go hunt. Like I was debating whether or not to go the next day, Saturday, but I was like, Friday. Last time I was going to stand Friday, I got surrounded by deer. I missed. I just flat out missed my shot. And I just said, I think Friday's the day. So I just said, when I go out on Friday, magic happens. So what I did was I went out, I took corn because I didn't have corn laid out. So instead of driving the truck out there, I literally carried my bag of corn out there over our trail by the railroad track.
Little access point.
Cut it open, dumped it out in 2 parallel lines going away from where my stand was, like crop lines,
Yeah.
So
Which ended up being a good idea for you.
yeah, exactly. And I poured it out so I could get them to broadside instead of just dumping it in a big circle
Yeah.
and they just all come and feed facing me. So I was like, I'm going to make it to where I'm going to make them stand.
You're
the way
going to
I
get
want
the
them
shots
to.
that you need. Yeah.
So I lined the corn up the way I want them to stand so I can get my shots. So just like he said. So then on the way back, I was like, you know what? God calls us to be good stewards of the earth. And I was like, we have those damn kids from the apartments and those hobos by the railroad. There's just trash all over the place by the railroad track. So the railroad track is technically not our property, but it cuts our land in half. So I was like, I got over there and I just had that deer bag, that corn bag with me. I said, I'm just going to pick up all this trash.
Corey's lying, by the way. He tells everybody that's on that railroad, he's like, "This is my property.
This is
Get
my
off."
property. Get out of here,
He
boy.
even stopped a train one time. The guy was like, "What's
Hey,
going
you got
on?"
to move. You can't park here.
He's like,
you got to go.
You need to go back, and if you turn left in a quarter mile, but you can't drive through this lane. Like, what do you mean?
I can't tell you how many times I've been in that tree stand and train just drives by and I'm like,
You just fling an arrow at the train.
just hit the conductor.
Nope, nothing would happen. I mean, it was just.
Nice to an arrow.
Yeah. Entire train.
No, it explodes. Oh, jeez.
Great commercial for G5 Megabeat. G5. That's just, yeah, dude, we really Family Guide that cutaway right there.
That G5 Megabeat blows shit up.
Train
We
explodes.
need to do that. We need to do like G5 Megabeat and then shoot it like.
Well, have you ever seen those memes with Rambo where he's shooting that explosive
Yeah, arrow.
arrow. Yeah, they cut that right into a deer. Literally, the memes are out there. It's hilarious.
Uh, yeah, so I mean, I've been out there and that train's driving by. But anyway, so I pick up all that trash by the railroad on the way back across, and I was like, I felt good. I was like, there's something about that day. I said, when I come back out here in a couple hours, I got a good feeling. And lo and behold, I did have a good feeling.
All
But
because you picked up the trash.
all because I picked up the trash. I was a good steward of the earth.
No, it's funny how you can have that kind of superstition about things,
Mhm.
even if you didn't end up getting the harvest or whatever, but just being able to have a good hunt, see
Yeah,
things. You got always got an idea of feelings,
yeah.
and
But
you can be proven wrong regardless
yeah,
of that.
absolutely. But I had a positive attitude, and I went out there, and I got in the stand like at exactly 3:30, and I was ready to go. And deer were doing all kinds of crazy stuff
Oh
as
yeah, I was getting
early
ready to
as
say
4.
that's what I was going to say earlier. I couldn't remember what I was going to say. That's a late stand spot, and you were seeing deer movement at 4.
Yeah, exactly 4. Like I had two does run up to me, and I mean, I'm sitting, I'm not standing. So like they're running up, I'm like, oh, so, you get that the jitters. Like I'm still sitting down. I have to stand up without like agitating them or making them look at me. So they got to a point where I couldn't see them behind another tree, and I was like, I'm gonna stand up now. So I stand up, grab the bow, make everything happen. I do everything perfect. I do everything absolutely perfectly. And then I accidentally don't. I had a heavy left foot when I was stepping into my shot, and I drug across the middle of the stand, and they heard it, and they didn't play, but they were like, "What was that? What?"
Sorry, I had to. Had a baby,
Yeah,
had a
so
baby.
just a big, stupid mistake on my part. But I just had a heavy foot, because I did so much in such a short period of time that I just got a heavy foot, and it ended up being fine. They went out about 100 yards and were scraping their heads on, tree branches and stuff in front of me. I was like, you sons of, just come back here, come back to Papa.
Oh, they're not coming back to the Tin Man up
Yeah,
there.
they're
You
not.
freaking
They're not.
stand up there.
They stayed away, and then at about 4:30, then they left and went back off towards. They went towards the oil rig, but back towards McCarty's property. And then
McCarty's over there with his shotgun, like
yeah,
Elmer Fudd.
wow, wow.
He's like, "Is it deer season?" 6 shots later, I'm like, I don't think you can kill that many deer. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
dude, I was getting a little worried for the whitetail over there. So I was running back towards there.
Yeah, they was running back that way towards the oil rig, but at an angle towards back McCarty's, and then we had a doe just flat out sprint across the field towards the bullpen, and then there was a little fawn that was chasing her, but decided not to run across the open field, so she came back, and I was like, "There's some crazy stuff happening right now." So I was like, "This bodes well for me." And then, I'm just standing up after that. After 4:30, I'm like, I'm not sitting down
Yeah,
again.
it's
I'm just
smart
going to
move.
stand and
There's no reason to get caught moving again.
hold my bow at the ready. And I think about
When
gosh,
we started walking up,
it was probably about 5:15, 5:20
I
ish.
saw the trail cams, which will be on there right now.
Yeah,
There's like 5 or 4 bucks, 3 or 4 bucks.
there's 5 bucks came on, and but they're so far away. I didn't even think they were bucks. I was just like, oh, here come the does. It's like it's magic time, and I said it's awful early for magic hour too. But we hadn't fed them for a couple of days either. So they were excited.
Corey hit that. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, here we go.
Like, so I hadn't fed them in a couple of days. We hadn't fed them since Monday. So they're coming in and going, we haven't eaten in a couple of days. We haven't eaten good in a couple of days. So they came in and I was shocked. $5. One was staying back. There was only one real smart one that was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this whole corn situation here. But the rest of them came in. And and again, they were coming up. I can't even tell. It's 5:30 ish, 5:23 ish, but it's still dusky enough to where it's hard to tell what they are. So I don't know they're bucks until they get right up in front of me, and I'm like, oh, sheesh, those are $5 hanging out in front of me. All big ones too. There was like a dwarfed one. You had a word for it. There was a
Cold buck.
coal buck. So
Yeah,
and of course, all the other bucks are coming up and they're basically forward facing me. I was like,
yeah.
God dang it. I laid out the corn like a crop field and they're still lining up facing me like assholes. But, the little,
The cold buck.
the coal buck comes
Yeah.
up and he's actually broadside and I'm just like, man, he's not the one I want, but he's got a decent sized rack on him,
Yeah.
which isn't too bad. And then the biggest one comes up and shoves him away from that, the first one on the far left side or on my left. So I was like, okay. And then he walks up to the right side row of corn, and he's broadside. He's perfect. He's absolutely right for shooting. So he puts his head down. All the other bucks' heads are down. I just go, this wind up. So I get up and I get my shot lined up. And I'm just like, okay. So I got him lined up in the shot. I'm like, there it is. And all of a sudden, big O, or we call him forward collision. I don't know it's forward collision at this time, but Drake does because he's looking at I'm sure he's texting me in his phone.
Oh
right
yeah,
now,
I was freaking out.
there,
I was up in the bow shop. I'm like, get me out of here. This guy's like, hey man, can I test shoot this Hoyt? I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Like,
go.
yeah. He's like, change it for my draw length. I'm like, in a minute.
So he's there, and then all of a sudden, forward collision's at that back pile, kind of still facing quartered towards me, and then all of a sudden, it's like what you've been saying all year. He is a mean buck, and he has to die this season.
Yeah,
because he's a bully. Like Drake, you'd rattle him in. And he came running in.
I got a couple stories after.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So he is a mean buck. So I'm lined up on this little pole buck. And I'm just like, here we go. And here comes the shot. And I'm just like, and all of a sudden, forward collision comes in and pushes him out of the way. Says, get off the food pile, buddy. And I was like, well, if you chose violence, you're on the menu now, man. So I chose violence too. And I just go, bam. But, when the shot hits, I know after the shot hits, I hit in a good spot, but it didn't go through all the way because I shot a little high on it.
Yeah, you didn't get a pass through.
But I was like, so I'm freaking out going, dang it. I blew it. So he runs off, runs around the little tree pile right over there, and then goes through the small tree branches. It's kind of like shrubbery.
Them little saplings.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can still see the arrow, and I'm like, dang it, man. And then he kind of goes out of view for a little bit, running towards the bullpen, and then he cuts back left about 100 yards, and literally, all of a sudden, I just see fall over.
Which is great.
Right in a little horseshoe, lower, hill area.
Indention on the hill, yeah.
Yeah, right behind a single tree. And I'm just like, he did not just fall over right there, And I'm sitting there and I see a little bit of movement, a little bit of tail fluttering, and then nothing. And then all the other bucks go over there and have like a little autopsy on him. They're like, what's with Assy McCollerson over here laying down?
You giving up on us, bro? All you gotta do is blink glass. Yeah.
That cool. Well,
no, that's awesome, man. So between you and your brother, you both have shot deer and watched them both go down. That's amazing. Yeah. That's people work so hard for that.
That's why I like that stand because, it puts you in a unique position because where you have about, if they don't run back behind you like yours did, you got about 300.
Oh, you can see them all run.
Field,
yeah.
Unless they go directly right or they go.
I'd say the only reason he came right back is I pretty much shot him right behind me. So of course he's going to go that way.
He turned around because he's
not going to come out where he got hit from. But no, to tell you a little more story about your deer. Or I should say, tell the people a little more story on this buck. Obviously, you probably at this point in the show, you've seen probably every trail camera and the video footage of them that we got.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this deer at the oil rig at stand. Me and Chad hung in the middle of July, and that's where Chad killed his deer at. I had him there. The forward collision, I believe it was in late October. Feeding, and I had my bow in my hand at full draw and let down, and I don't know why I did, but I let him go, and I regretted it. Absolutely regretted it. And then obviously now, what a great ending conclusion to it all. But that was just one. That was to start it off with before the rut. So I was like, well, if that's happening now, I already know about these other deer that we call, Big Show or Bullwinkle or Second Chance or whatever. But I'm like, oh, I'll hold off, and more time kept going on. I kept looking back on that situation. I'm like, damn, I can't believe that I let go. Well, anyways, like mid-November, I was in between stands. This is one of the days I was staying out there as long as I could, literally all day. After the morning hunt, I literally just went by the thumb where we have a hard time hanging the stand at. And I just like brushed myself into just kind of this behind this bush, and I put my decoy out in the field 20 yards and bam, smack those antlers together. And on that other property that hopefully we're going to get permission from, which probably shouldn't say too much right now, but hopefully we get permission from it. And that's where it hopped on over the barbed wire from over there. It came right at it. And I'm like, holy crap. And I moved to grab my bow. Of course, that was way too much movement for him. He saw this right here. And I'm like, God dang. Because I was down on his level.
Yeah.
And but he hopped over that thing so fired up. I mean, that's my favorite part about the rut in those like 5 or 7 days they responded to rattle. I was like this, and I literally was in the middle of rattle, and when I saw him, I'm like, drop the antlers. And I'm like, grab my bow, and then he saw me do that. Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I had a love-hate relationship with the guy too. Like, I mean, you knew every time I
Mm.
got out of that stand, when
Yeah, one time you
dark,
missed him by 4 minutes.
yeah. I mean, but it was
That was hilarious.
it was like borderline pitch black at the time. I'm getting out of stand.
Oh
Like, I
yeah,
couldn't take
you
it
were
a shot
screwed. You were
anyway.
literally playing cat and mouse. That guy was I try. You know what? I'm pretty good at guessing deer as long as they don't know that we're on him hardcore, which he knew we were on him, but not like uh, you didn't have two encounters with him or one encounter that was like an oh shit
Mhm.
encounter where it clicked on him real hard, where he's like, that's what I've been winning the whole time. Now I get it all. It's
Yeah,
not like he got that ever. Even when he was shortchanging you by 5 minutes,
yeah,
he just was
yeah.
late.
It just yeah.
He was just late.
He's a late riser.
Yeah, that's all it was. It wasn't like, I mean, he may have suspected some things, but it wasn't like you flung an arrow at him already, or
Right.
it's not like he'd been shot at by you at that spot right there with particular threat in this location.
Hmm.
And I was like, I called that like 4 weeks ago. I was like, in this stand, this deer will die. I was like, right here.
Yeah, and
4 weeks ago, and you guys will both attest to that. I was like, that deer will die right now if you guys can handle it.
yeah, and die he did.
Yeah.
And again, that love-hate relationship. I mean, we had run-ins. I had missed multiple shots on bucks over there. And I will say this again about myself. It's the shot discipline for me. It's impeccable. Like the shots that I missed were shots that I knew I probably shouldn't have taken, but you had encouraged me to take
Mm-hmm.
those shots because you go, you're not going to get another chance on a good
Yeah.
buck. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, so I took some shots that I really wasn't comfortable taking because I was just like, Drake's right. This buck probably might not come back this way because we were seeing bucks that I'd never seen before too.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you? Where did you get
Mm-hmm.
here?
They were popping out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say take your first chance on a mature buck. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Or don't if you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
That's really that simple. It's not too complicated. But yeah,
But yeah, to show you how good that tree stand that I was in, not only did I shoot that buck, I took another shot on a doe that came in like 5 minutes after I killed
yeah.
that buck. Like I totally whiffed the shot there.
That
and I
deer
think the
stand should
adrenaline
fill
was
your
pumping.
freezer for years to come. I mean, you shouldn't
Absolutely.
even have to try hard at it, really.
No.
If you won't even, that won't even be as adventurous.
No.
It won't be, but it'll be.
It's a spot where they're
You'll be
coming.
able to fill your freezer no matter what, right there in that spot over
Absolutely.
there. And it took a lot of cleaning up. We pulled off poison ivy, oak, old deer stand that had been there 10 years, and
Hmm.
now like two. Was that a 2 or 3 deer that have come from it? Two,
That's at least
two.
two.
Yeah, just those $2. Yeah,
Wait, didn't you? No, yeah, you killed your buck over there, right? So that's three
you killed
bucks.
your buck there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's 3 deer.
that's
Yeah,
$3. Not just 3 deer.
you're the
3
only one who
bucks.
killed at the oil rig, aren't you? Anybody else kill at the oil rig?
I haven't been to the oil rig, so no.
I don't think I killed there. You guys kill at the bluff?
I shot, never killed.
Yeah.
That's where he shot his first and hit her in the shoulder.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
With that
remember y'all
old
on
bow,
camera.
and then we got the Matthews.
I'm taking that stand down. That stand. I mean, you can kill deer anywhere, but yeah, that stand's good. We'll move it. But
Yeah,
man, yeah, what an awesome introduction to bow hunting, man.
yeah, yeah. And
So you're hooked for life.
it was fun. It was a good time. And like I said,
Do you think you'll be bow hunting for time to come, or what?
oh, for sure, absolutely. Like, and the deer meat is good. The deer steaks are good. The strap meat is good. The hamburger meat is good. It's all good. Like it. There is something different about eating the meat that you yourself
Oh,
harvested,
absolutely.
and
And that I think is one of the most rewarding thing. I mean, not to get cheesy, but like I keep telling you guys this as we're doing it, because the more time that goes on, then you'll look back and go, ah, shit, he was, the memories are like this year will be very instrumental in your memory. You'll always be able to look back on your first year of deer hunting,
yeah,
and we'll have so many positive memories to look back on, and the camaraderie and all that. That's what it's all about,
yeah,
and protecting that and encouraging younger ones to get into it as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
passing that on, basically. I mean, I know we didn't grow up in a household that did so, but yeah, I mean, and and like I said, being able to feed your family on it. I already knew that would be something you guys are all about. You guys are real fit dudes, and the second you can fill your freezer with meat, I was like, yeah, you guys would be in.
Yeah, well, and then you can hand out meat to other people when your fridge gets too
Oh yeah,
full, and it's just good, you know. You feel good doing it. It's an achievement, and it's an accomplishment, and anyone who says otherwise is lying. You know, like oh, big game hunter. It's like no, I am, and I worked hard. I was patient. I set those things. I helped you guys set those stands up, and we were out there setting
yeah.
rubs up, and we're the ones that put the bait out. It's like
Next
and
year will be
again,
fun too. Like not to cut you off, but
yeah.
next year will be even funner because now that you guys are in it, it's been before. It's been like me doing my best to illustrate what is to come. You've done everything that's to come, and now we'll film all of our setup, and we'll be able to make videos of every deer stand we hang or whatever, and it'll be good. We'll just whip the camera out everywhere we go.
Yeah,
It'll be good. We'll have so much footage by the time it's all done with, and how many big deer on the wall out there on your land. It'll be good.
absolutely.
So I think we've gone about a half hour, man. You got anything else you want to add?
I mean, not really. It just feels good to
Be
be on the board. I'm on the
it
scoreboard.
feels good to be a bow hunter, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's very rewarding. I mean, it really is, and it's a tough. Honestly, like I told you guys this, and I hope that you try to learn the principles as best as you can when they're presented to you, so you don't
yeah.
have to continue to relearn the same philosophy or theory as many times in quantity. But
Hmm.
what you guys have taught me once, and I'm not going to be taught it twice because you can only be taught something once to your best ability. But I like that you've taught me that there is no going around tribulation because I've tried to, through my experience, get you guys not to go through the bad of bow hunting. And I've realized that through all the failures of you not getting the deer for your first two times, and the same with Chad, is the reason why you got your buck and is the reason why he got his buck and the bow and all of that. And so, encouraging people that failure is going to happen and it's how you respond to it. Matter of fact, failure is going to happen more than not.
Yeah, you're 100% right there. The I could bring it back to that story of us playing basketball back in
Oh, yeah.
college, where we were playing against your roommates and one of your buddies, and I don't remember who the other person was, but we were just
Sorry, he's talking about you, Nick Tucker. We were spanking that ass.
no, they were spanking our asses like
No, I know. The end result is
yeah.
we were spanking that ass.
But yeah, me and Shad over there, I mean, we were either we're clicking and we're playing Halo really well together, or we are blaming each other and there is no in between. Like we're just not like sometimes your wavelengths just match and you just get it, and sometimes they just don't and you're doing the opposite thing.
Yeah.
You're doing one person's doing one thing, the other person's just like, no, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And Drake got after us like, it was like what 16-4. It was
Yeah.
bad. It was like a game
Yeah.
of 20 too. And Drake was just like, y'all need to stop fighting and quit playing selfish and just figure it out. And like I just looked at Chad and he's like, you know what? As easy as it was to say, he's right.
Yeah.
And like, man, all of a sudden we just literally flipped a switch and turned it on. And like I said, you can only learn those kind of errors through error and,
Yeah.
getting understanding what it was you were doing
Through
wrong.
failure. Yeah.
And we totally came back. They didn't score another point. Like we came back and spanked their asses, and like they were not happy about it. And it's the same with what you were saying a minute ago. You
Yeah.
have to
You
have
have to
your
have-
own trial and
Yeah,
error.
you have to fail.
And again, it's like I'll even turn it back to the first story I told. You getting your first buck kill on our land, like it's like you were like that was not a good lesson
Yeah,
for you
no.
guys to have learned because like what was the end result of my final hunt? It was exactly what you did.
Yeah.
But I had
how
to learn
hard
the
was
hard
it?
way.
How
Yeah.
hard was it to get there? Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you have perception of that first kill hunt you went on though. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like but it set me up for success though too. It's like
Yeah,
that's what a good hunt
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
look like.
Absolutely. You know what? it makes me wonder how many more hunts that you would have been, more tribulations you would have went through without having reference point or word in your mouth or word in your ear.
Yeah.
Because you still would have gone through the tribulations. Would have been the same amount. I don't know. Would have been more, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Probably, right?
Yeah.
Without having guidance, I would know me. If I didn't have guidance in something I didn't know, I would like to think that I would probably be longer to arrive at my objective or goal
Yeah.
than would if I didn't, you know?
Absolutely.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in conclusion, I would just say it was a very rewarding experience. It was awesome.
Good. I'm glad, man.
It was an amazing thing to do. It was
I'm
an
glad
amazing
you're a
thing to
bow
see.
hunter. It's been an honor getting you and your brother into it. It's been a privilege to be able to hunt out there with you, and we've got a lot of good memories and stuff to come. I mean, you'll be on here. We'll have plenty more times, you and your brother on here. So,
Absolutely.
congratulations, brother. Cheers to our Coca-Cola. Guys, thanks for watching and following out there. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and like the video. Till next time.